Hi, it's Dr. Garth Fisher on The Cutting Edge, and today on The Cutting Edge, we're talking about artistry, precision, and timeless beauty, the kind that doesn't fade away, doesn't follow trends, and speaks to craftsmanship that few still practice at the highest level. My guest today is my good friend Philip Press, one of Beverly Hills' most respected and sought-after jewelers. For over 30 years, Philip has built a name synonymous with excellence, designing exquisite, handcrafted pieces for discerning clients, including some of Hollywood's most iconic names. His studio is a true throwback to the golden age of fine jewelry, where every detail is made by hand, every gemstone is selected with care, and every piece tells a story. Philip's philosophy goes far beyond sparkle. It's about legacy, love, and the craftsmanship that connects generations. Please welcome to The Cutting Edge, the incomparable Philip Press.
Hello, Garth.
Hello, it's good to see you here.
Thank you for having me.
Good friends for probably 30 years also.
Just under 30 years. I was thinking about it this morning.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how quickly the time goes.
Yeah, it's
We
amazing.
have known each other for a very long time.
I was always impressed when I walked in your studio. You're up on Sunset Plaza, and I was amazed at how precise and how detailed and how passionate you are about everything. And of course, your pieces have told a story in my life for a long time.
Long time.
That's
Indeed.
right.
Yeah.
So I want to get into it. I don't know who knows you, doesn't know you, but for those who don't know you, everybody still wants to know about you. But what first drew you to the jewelry world? Was there a defining moment when you knew this was what you were going to do?
Yeah, it's a long story. My story is a long one.
Okay.
The defining moment was at age 15, back home in Buffalo, New York, where I'm originally from, the birthplace of modern civilization.
Yeah.
So, you know how it was growing up in the 70s? Life was simple back then, right? It was a Friday morning, the summer, rode my bike over to my friend's house, knocked on the door. Hey, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Hey, let's go see my uncle. He's a jeweler.
Oh, wow.
So we rode our bikes across town, went over to the building that he was in and knocked on the door. And this 6 foot tall, silver-haired gentleman with the curly mustache,
Right.
lab coat, shirt tie, opens the door, and I looked at him and I was like, "Wow, who is this guy?" Right, and invite us into his studio. Very small shop. It was a workshop. He primarily made pieces for other jewelers from Poland. Worked and apprenticed in Place Vendôme, which was kind of still is the jewelry district of Paris.
Right.
And he had an amazing workshop, right? His workbench, instead of being all wood, like a typical workbench, had sheets of stainless steel covering the surface. Right. And all of his tools and all of his burrs and everything were perfectly aligned. And of course, I saw that.
I love that.
I was completely enamored. Like, oh my gosh, what is this? And he sat down and he was working on a piece as he was talking to us. And I was just completely enamored with that. And subsequently, I went back there on my own, right? Mm-hmm. And I'd go over there, knock on the door, and he would answer the door, and he'd be like, "What do you want? You're bothering me. What do you want?" And I said, I just, I'll sweep your floor and I'll clean your windows and he's okay, whatever. And he let me in, and I would look over his shoulder to see what he was doing, and I was marveled. And occasionally he would throw a used tool or burr in the trash, and I'd take the tool, and he wouldn't know, and pick through the trash when I took the trash out for him, and I went home and I had some silver dollars, and I melted them down one day, and I made a necklace out of it.
How'd you melt them down?
I had a blowtorch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that I borrowed from my next door neighbor.
Right.
And I melted them down and I made a necklace out of it.
That's illegal to destroy U.S. coins.
Well,
it's okay.
Okay, don't turn me in, please. And I brought it to him the next day, and I was like, look what I made. And he looks at it and he says, "This is, you know what?" And he sat down and he smashed it and he took it all apart. He goes, "Now let me show you how to make this." That was a defining moment.
Wow. So what happened to that necklace? That'd be great if you still had it.
I don't have it now. No, unfortunately, it's been through the ringer and been melted down a bunch of times, and I don't even know where that material is now.
So this is, and your age, how old were you?
15.
15 years old. So here we are. You're older now.
I'm older now, that's for sure.
And you built your brand has been such, hardcore craftsmanship, precision, detail, and integrity. How have you maintained that when, today it just seems like speed and mass production? How did your philosophy take shape?
Yeah, it's simple. I mean, I think you of all people would be able to understand that because your level of perfection and integrity and quality is the same, which is probably why we've gotten along so well over the years. Look, it's not complicated. If you have the ability to make things perfect, make them perfect.
Right.
It's not that difficult. It just takes that extra effort. It takes that, innate desire to create things that are as good as humanly possible. And myself and my crew, this is what we do.
I know you, and I know that if you went to sleep one night and one of the 32 corners of something was not polished, soft or smooth as possible, you'd probably get back up and you'd go back in.
It's not uncommon that we'll just scrap a piece halfway through and start all over again.
Right.
If I think it's not exactly the way it needs to be.
Okay. So
things are either perfect or they're not.
Or they're no good.
Or they're not. Why not have perfect?
I agree with you 100%. So aside from this, guy that you met at age 15, is there anybody you could say who influenced your early style, your design? Were there mentors or anything like that in your past?
Yeah, there were some mentors. After leaving Buffalo, I lived in Boston for a few years before coming to California in 1989. And the company that I worked for in Boston is one of the oldest, largest single-store jewelers in the country. And I learned a lot when I was there. I learned a lot about style. I learned a lot about what people are looking for, both in finish and quality and in design. And that was really the springboard.
In Boston.
It's
Dr. Garth Fisher with The Cutting Edge. I'm speaking with Philip Press, a master jeweler and designer to the stars, I'll say, because I know a lot of people that carry his work with pride. So Boston, do you ever see things, from one of the big brands? It's like, well, that's cool. I'd like to make that because, you seem like you're all custom. You just, everything is in your brain and translates to your hands. And do you ever see things that you like?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Inspiration for design comes from a lot of places. And I have to say, primarily the inspiration comes from my amazing clients.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I have clients that are so brilliant and are so stylish. They'll come to me and they'll say, Philip, you know what? I want you to make me a piece like this or like that. And I'll think about it like, oh, that's a great idea.
Right.
And I'll make that piece for them, sure. But then maybe later on I'll elaborate on that and maybe do my own version, my own twist on that. That's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. And of course, look, I have a library, you've probably seen, of books and catalogs of the great masters going back hundreds of years. I'll copy some of the designs and I'll change them and make them a little bit more modern, a little bit more unusual, add different gemstones, different touches, different technologies and things to change them and make them my own. But inspiration comes from a lot of different places.
Right. That's what I've experienced with you too. I'll call and I'll have an idea and then we'll work together. And it's just like out of nowhere, you make this amazing piece of jewelry. And it's been great. You're known for creating timeless and heirloom quality pieces. What defines great craftsmanship in your eyes besides just perfection?
Yeah, great craftsmanship and perfection are synonymous. Craftsmanship takes the form of a variety of different things. In our shop, we've incorporated a lot of new technologies, technologies that are unheard of in the jewelry world. I've taken from the aerospace industry. I've taken from the medical industry.
Wow. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I went to a trade show the other day of medical devices, medical technologies. And I was walking around, they're looking at my badge and it says, oh, Philip Press, Master Jeweler. And they're looking, what do you do? You're a jeweler? What are you doing here? And I was like, what I'm doing exactly. That's the question. Like right now I'm looking for a particular laser drill, right? That doesn't exist in the jewelry world, but it exists in the medical world.
Right.
So we incorporate new technologies along with old world techniques of hand fabricating and hand drawing, wires and plates and then welding them together with lasers. Almost unheard of in the trade. So we're very unique in the things that we do and then enables us to make these pieces with precision that almost doesn't exist anywhere else.
I'd be curious to know which laser you got. There's a lot of lasers and they change every year, but that sounds exciting. And I know your workshop's impressive. I've been in there, and you've got every tool you can imagine.
And then some.
And it's all organized like that guy that you met at age 15 too.
It's not the same.
So-
it's actually quite messy, but you know what? It works, and it works really, really well.
So this would be interesting for the viewers. It's all about educating the viewers, the listeners. Can you please walk us through your process from concept to finished piece, how this item that you're thinking about becomes wearable, and let us know about that.
Sure. So typically the process is a client will call me, they'll make an appointment, they come in, they have a concept. I would like a ring like this. I would like a necklace or a pair of earrings like this. And we'll sit down and we'll discuss it, and I'll advise them. I'll come up with maybe some different options for them for the different things that they want to do. And we'll sketch it out, draw it out, and I'll quote them a price, which is usually significantly better than what they find anywhere else, because we do everything in-house.
Right.
Everything is totally vertical to the client. And once we agree on that, we actually design the piece digitally in CAD.
Okay.
So I will send them 3D digital renderings of the piece, multiple views for them to see at home on their computer screen. And if there is any tweaks or anything that we need to change, it's very easy to do at that point. Once they're okay with that, we have very high resolution 3D printers.
Okay.
And we can actually print them a plastic mock-up of the piece with precision that they can come in and try on and look at. We can drop the stones in place and they'll know exactly what they're getting. Once they're good with that, then we make the piece in the metal. And they're welcome to come in and see that piece in the finished metal before we actually set the stones. And then from there, we set the stones and finish the piece.
Oh,
That's
great.
how it's done. Very, very different. Not the typical jewelry store by any means.
No, it's not. And because you're very custom, and it's almost like when you walk in your door, you ring the buzzer, it's all locked, it's very secure and safe, and
Very private.
you feel like the only person in the world that's there. And I like that also. You take people from all over the globe, but
All over the globe.
but you're very one-on-one and passionate. How do you choose between platinum and I know in the beginning it was platinum mainly, but you do platinum, gold, and everything silver?
We do
obviously.
everything. We do everything.
Yeah.
Look, platinum is the finest material to make jewelry from. Let's say you had $1 million diamond. It wouldn't be set in white gold. It would be set in platinum.
Right.
Platinum is the purest, rarest metal. I like its luster. I like its shine. Most people who are buying high-end jewelry, they appreciate platinum. But platinum is a very difficult metal to work in. It's significantly more difficult to work in than gold.
It's harder. It's harder. Right?
Well, it's actually a bit softer. But for example, the melting point of gold, roughly 1,700 degrees. Melting point of platinum, 3,000 degrees. It's also has a very kind of mushy texture to it, believe it or not. But it lasts longer, and it's more sustainable. And like I said, it wears better, it looks better, and it's the preeminent material to make jewelry from.
And you've got those heaters to heat things up?
We do.
Fantastic. You're one of the very few jewelers who handcrafts everything in-house.
Everything.
We talked about that, and probably one of the few in Beverly Hills. Why is that important to you?
Well, I think the only way that you can maintain control over the quality of the things that you create is to do everything in-house.
Right.
And very few jewelers do that today. Most jewelers that you go to are simply jewelry stores. They're retailers. They buy the jewelry pieces from other designers and other manufacturers, and they retail them.
That's important to know.
It is important to know because think of it like this, right? Growing up in Buffalo, New York, where I'm originally from, there was a furniture company that employed a lot of European immigrants. And one of my friend's fathers worked at that furniture company. And I remember going there one time. And each one of these craftsmen had their own area in the factory where they hand carved, handmade these amazing pieces of furniture. And you compare that today, for example, the analogy, look at the furniture that we have to buy today. It's all made overseas, cheaply made, and sold by a handful of big corporations. Back in the day, if you wanted a piece of furniture, a chest of drawers or something, you would go to the workshop, you'd knock on the door, the guy would come out of the back room covered in sawdust, he'd dust himself off and look at you and say, what do you want? I want a chest of drawers like this and like that, made out of mahogany. And you'd sketch it out and the guy would make it for you and it'd be perfect. It would be all custom made.
Right.
Same thing with clothing. You would go to a tailor and have a suit made. Fine bespoken jewelry is almost non-existent today.
Yeah, you're old school.
Old school.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that. That's why I believe your pieces are so precise and better made.
Thank you.
How do you balance artistry and precision and science, that the fine jewelry demands? How do you balance all that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because being able to take the artistry and the technology and the engineering and meld them together into a finished, amazing piece of jewelry is not easy, because there are a lot of quote unquote jewelry designers out there, but they're not jewelers. They'll come up with a design, they'll come up with a concept that sure might look interesting,
but you're doing it.
Well, we're doing it, but the point is,
you're doing it. I'm saying they may see something, but you actually the one that's going to put it on your desk and make it.
Correct, because I and my crew, who are amazing, we are jewelers.
Yeah.
We are the technicians. We are the ones that put these things together. So the point is, a lot of these jewelry designers, they're not jewelers. So they have no idea what can function, what can actually work, and what won't work, right? Because the thing has to, what I call, has to go and not just show. It has to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have that gift that we can combine amazing designs, artistry, and technology and engineering to create that perfect, functional, beautiful piece.
Okay. What is the most memorable or challenging custom piece of jewelry you ever made? Can you think of that? When I come to your, for the viewers, I'm his friend. I go to his shop a lot. We talk shop.
We do.
Among other things. And you're making something for, NFL. You're just making so much stuff. It's just, so what's the most custom, memorable piece you made?
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. I would say at this point, there was a brooch that we made that essentially is like a rose.
Right.
So the petals of the rose are rubies. They are square rubies that we laser grooved, tongue and groove like floorboards that fit together seamlessly with no prongs, no metal, nothing holding the stones from the top. It's just like a velvet sheet of rubies.
How do they hold it in place?
It's held in place from the bottom, from the inside. Next time you come in, I'll show it to you, because that's kind of my piece. It's not really for sale.
Right.
And the stem is in platinum that has baguette diamonds that were custom cut to fit the curve of the stem. That piece took us about 6 months to make, and we must have broke, 100 rubies to fit them all into a place.
Right.
It was extraordinarily difficult, but we did it.
Well, the cost of goods is going up every time a ruby breaks, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, but that's part of the program.
Yeah.
Sometimes we break stones.
You've worked with many celebrities and high-profile clients. What's the key to maintaining trust and discretion in that world?
Oh, it's not hard.
Yeah, I feel like I know that answer.
If anybody, Garth, if anybody knows that, it would be you.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You just do the right thing. You treat people like they want to be treated. They want the privacy and things. People ask me all the time. I get calls from magazines. I'm sure you do as well.
Right.
Oh, what's the latest piece you made for a celebrity? All the time. And I never tell them. Right. Because, people's privacy is very important.
Exactly.
So I never discuss.
And you'll lose them as a client if they...
You would lose them as a client, of course.
Exactly.
Of course you would.
I'm here. This is The Cutting Edge with Dr. Garth Fisher. I'm here with Philip Press, who's a master jeweler. And we're learning a lot about jewelry. And if you want it custom, this is where you go. And I've been going there for probably 25 years.
Yep.
In your opinion, what makes a piece of jewelry truly timeless or just trendy?
Yeah, great question. So just like in any kind of fashion, there are trendy pieces and there are timeless pieces. I try to stay away from the trendy pieces. If somebody comes in and says, look, I want you to make me one of these pieces that's, really popular. Sure, I'll make that. But when it comes to pieces that I will put in my line, I try to stick with the tried and true. I try to stick with concepts and designs that have been around for a long time, that I know will be around for many, many years to come, generations to come.
Do you remember any trendy, like people that wanted trendy designs?
Yeah, I remember. You probably do too. 10 plus years ago, there was this fad where you would essentially take fishing line
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then hang a diamond from it.
Wow.
And it was the most ridiculous thing,
Yeah.
right? And people would come and, oh, can you make me that?
You don't want your name on that.
No, I don't want my name on that. But it's very hard to say no.
Yeah.
Very hard to say no. And I'm sure you come across
They
that
could
all
go
the
to
time
the,
too.
the Bass Pro Shop and maybe they'll
Yeah,
do something
exactly.
like that.
Something like that.
How has Beverly Hills, its history and culture, shaped your business and clients throughout the years? How has everything changed for you, or have you seen it change?
Yeah, just like any fashion, things change. Beverly Hills, I'm blessed to be in the area where you're surrounded by some of the most interesting, creative, brilliant people in the world. And people from all over the world, as you know, same with your clientele, come and engage us to make pieces for them. And it's a thrill.
Yeah.
It's a thrill because these are people that have bought jewelry all over the world. They can buy anything they want, but they come to us because they know that we can translate their ideas precisely into a finished piece of the best quality and also for the best value and the best price.
Yeah. And I bet it's really fun and keeps it fresh for you that somebody may come in that likes flowers and they want something with a flower motif, or somebody who, plays golf, wants a golf club with some, diamonds on, or a singer that wants a microphone and, a record player on it. And, you make all of those. And I know you probably enjoy that. It's
Oh my
fun.
gosh. I honestly have to pinch myself sometimes because, look at what I get to do. I get to make beautiful, interesting, brilliant pieces for these brilliant people, creative, brilliant people all day, every day. How lucky can I be?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You like what you do, and that's
Love what I
not
do.
a job.
Love it.
So I would think that the first engagement with somebody, is an engagement ring. That may be the first time you probably see a client as they want to get a ring for somebody they're going to marry. And how do you advise somebody young and maybe not young and they're just trying to pick out the right engagement ring? What kind of questions do they ask, and how do you talk to them?
Well, typically a couple will come in, and you know how I am, right? I like to listen.
Well, is it a couple, or is it the man sneaking in first?
It's a combination. Sometimes it's the man that'll come in and say, look, I'm thinking about getting engaged and I think I know what she wants. So that leads into one discussion. And then sometimes the gal will come in with her friends, right? Kind of, scoping things out. That happened just this morning, as a matter of fact. And then sometimes they come in as a couple. So we get all three regularly. But I like to listen. I like to let my clients tell me what they want, what they're interested in. I always say, have you seen anything that you really love? And most often they'll say, yes, I saw this piece and it was like this and it was like that. And I'd really like to have something like that. And that's typically where it initiates from.
So for me, I'm looking at this. If I'm going to ask a girl for marriage, I don't think I'm going to talk to her about it first. I'm going to get on my knee and propose to them. So they're going to see the ring first, right?
Theoretically,
but people actually take the girl in and say, find out what you want me to get on my knee and propose to you with.
Yeah,
that happens. So it's not a surprise
well,
anymore.
Garth, look, you're a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
You're an old school traditional fellow, right? I like to think I'm the same. A lot of guys are that way, right?
Right.
But it's very different now. Relationships are very different today. And I think it's interesting commentary. I think that the way that a couple will approach the engagement ring says a lot about their relationship.
Well, I'd love to get your psychological analysis on that.
It'll be a long discussion.
Well, have you ever had one yet that said, Philip, let's take a picture of this ring and I want to text and propose to my girl?
No, haven't had that yet. Text and propose? Yeah, no, I don't think that would go over very well.
Well, no, I think that's the sign of the times now. Maybe people are just going to text, and we're going to get into other things about the diamonds itself. But that's an interesting thing for me for the proposal part of it, because I thought pretty much everybody was doing it as a surprise.
No,
but I guess it's
not today. Not today. Typically, the couples will come in and, nothing against guys, right? But a lot of these guys are a little clueless and, they'll come in as a couple. She'll point out, she'll say, look, I like that ring design. I like that shape of diamond, right? And from there, he'll come back on his own. We'll discuss the parameters of the diamond, which obviously drives the cost, right? Because, unfortunately, cost is a big thing.
Yeah.
And then I'll always advise the guys. I'll say, look, let's make the piece. We know exactly what she wants. I know her finger size. And then when it's finished, I'll let you know. You'll come in, you'll pick it up, and you'll propose and surprise. And she won't know when she's getting. She knows what she's getting, but she won't know when. And inevitably, that works really well every single time.
Okay, and what about the guys like Philip? I love the ring, but what size carat do I get? I don't want to be, I want to come in strong, but I don't want to look weak with my carat, but I can't afford that. It's a little bit too much. What do you tell them?
Well, there's multiple options, right? I always tell people, buy the biggest diamond that you can afford. You will never regret it, right? Because as you probably know, diamonds tend to shrink over the years.
Mm-hmm. No,
it's true.
Well, so is it more important the size than the color and the clarity?
It's very subjective. Again, I have certain parameters that I work in as far as the quality of the gems. The gems have to be great. Mm-hmm. But there is a point of diminishing returns. In other words, they only have to be so perfect to the unaided eye. Otherwise, it becomes more of a psychological satisfaction.
Yeah, you're right. That's a great way to describe it.
Well, it's true. And not everybody needs that. Some people do. Not everybody needs that. So also, we've got options today, especially when it comes to diamonds. Right? There are diamonds that come out of the ground, and now there are diamonds that come out of a laboratory.
Right.
And that affects the price, dramatically.
Right.
So I also offer that because we are on the cutting edge, of of the laboratory diamonds, right? We are aligned with a company in Europe that creates these absolutely perfectly grown, optically perfect diamonds. And it is a miracle of technology.
That's really helpful. And I think on the second half, we're going to get into that a little bit. Lab-grown diamonds, trying to see the process of how something's growing into a diamond. I've got a big backyard. I could probably start growing some back here.
We'll talk about that.
But the jewelry industry is evolving with lab-grown diamonds and AI design tools and global sourcing. How do you view these changes? Tell me about them.
Sure. Well, as far as AI design tools, it's not there. It's not a thing. There are some clients that have come in and they say, oh, I designed this on Canva and I went into ChatGPT and I designed, and they're completely unworkable. Right. I mean, they're interesting. Mm-hmm. Maybe conceptually it's a starting point, but AI at this point has no influence on jewelry and on design.
Right.
As far as laboratory gemstones, that's an entirely different thing. That has categorically changed the jewelry world as we know it.
Okay.
Laboratory grown colored stones, rubies, emeralds, sapphires have been around for decades. And some of them are quite good. Very, very difficult to tell them apart. But they haven't impacted the natural stone market at all. And when the
Why is that?
Hard to say. Hard to say.
Okay.
You would think that it would have, but it hasn't.
Right.
For whatever reason. People prefer the natural stones that come out of the ground when it comes to colored stones.
Okay.
So when the laboratory diamonds became a thing, roughly 5-6 years ago, those of us in the trade thought the same thing. It's like, oh, okay, well, they can't be that good. And
we saw what happened with the colored stones.
Colored stones, so should be a similar thing. Well, not the case. I treaded very lightly with that. I was an early adopter. I became fanatical about the technologies and, how do you do that? Much more so than most other jewelers. And I traveled and I went to these factories and I saw what was going on and I saw what they were outputting. And you know what? It was impressive. And it was literally earth shattering. I mean, if you would have told me 10 years ago, you know what, Philip, at some point they'll figure out how to make diamonds, I would laugh. I would say, yeah, okay, what's next? You're going to make gold? You're going to make platinum?
Right.
Good luck with that. Well, guess what? The future is here. And just like every other type of gemstone, there are some good ones and then there are not so good ones. There's essentially two technologies that create laboratory diamonds. One has to do with heat and pressure. It's called HPHT, high pressure, high temperature. Yeah. Where essentially you're taking a piece of graphite and you are surrounding it with molten metal, in most cases either iron, nickel, or cobalt. and you are suscepting it to about 1,500 degrees of heat and about 55,000 atmospheres of pressure.
Oh, it's
And
incredible.
It's incredible. And it transforms the graphite into a diamond, right? Because diamond is crystallized graphite.
So,
but unfortunately, what happens is that some of that metal will seep into the crystal.
mm-hmm.
So that when you polish the stone and cut the stone and you test it with a diamond tester, this thermal conductivity diamond tester, which looks like a big pen with a little needle at the end.
Right.
You touch it to the stone, it doesn't test as diamond.
Mm.
It looks like a diamond, certainly,
Right.
but doesn't test as
Is
diamond.
that every single time?
Every single time. Because the impurities of the metals infuse themselves into the crystal, and it's not pure carbon.
I wonder if there's any way for them to get around that.
Well, the other technology is called CVD, carbon vapor disposition.
Okay.
This is the amazing technology.
Okay.
So essentially, this takes place in a plasma reactor. What you do is you take a collection plate of a particular alloy of metal, and you put little seeds of chips of actual diamonds on this plate, put the plate into the chamber, you fill the chamber with a carbon gas. In most cases, it's methane, which isn't the best. I'll get into that in a minute, and hydrogen. You evacuate all the air, fill it with the gases, few atmospheres of pressure, and a whole bunch of microwaves, and you heat it to about 30,000 degrees.
Don't tell me the seeds grow.
Well, hang on. So what happened? It's really amazing.
This is interesting.
It's amazing. What happens is the carbon in the gas atomizes and collects on those seeds in layers and grows the diamond crystal in layers. It's incredible. So,
Do you see these impurities when you're looking at it? The layers?
You don't see the layers. No, you can't see it because it's on the molecular level. But getting back to what I said earlier, where there's some good laboratory stones and not so good ones, the vast majority of the diamonds that you're going to see that are laboratory grown are not great. They're coming from overseas and they're using very cheap material like methane gas, which is very dirty, right? Methane is dirty, has a lot of impurities in it. And so what happens is the diamonds come out with some inclusions. They may have a brown cast to them or a gray cast to them. The company that we're working with in Europe is absolutely on the front end, and they're using extremely pure elements in a very sterile environment, and their crystals are coming out amazingly good, optically perfect. The sparkle element is unlike anything.
So is there any chance that there's one lab-grown diamond and you compare it to a diamond that's not lab-grown, because they're both diamonds, they're both real. Is there any chance you could look at that and say, I don't think that's lab-grown?
Almost imperceptible.
Really?
Yeah. Now, if a natural diamond has inclusions, then that's usually the thing that we can see right away.
And these don't have inclusions?
They typically don't.
So that's your first key to like, this can't be, it's so perfect.
Could be.
Huh.
Could be. Or colorless.
Well, this is really interesting.
Oh, it's amazing.
So how do you keep your creative edge fresh after decades of success?
Oh,
I'm sure that's the clients too, right?
It's the clients.
Yeah.
There's no question. But look, you're an artist, all right? You understand that as well as anyone else. You're the best at what you do. Everyone knows that. Well, it's true.
This is about you, Philip. Not me.
I know, but still, it's still about you because, you're a remarkable fellow and, you're the best at what you do. And I'm proud to be your friend. I'm proud to know you. But it's not always perfect, right? Sometimes, you come to the shop and, you have to figure out something for a client and you know what? It's just not flowing. Today's not the day, right?
You think you're just in your head? It's just...
Sure.
You just need more coffee or you just need a break?
I can always use more coffee. It's not that. It's very hard to verbalize. It's just, you can't be creative all day, every day. Sometimes it flows and it's just unbelievable. I'll sit there for a whole day and just sketch things that come into my mind, right? And other days it's completely blocked. Mm-hmm. And you can't force creativity. Creativity has to come naturally. And
it's Dr. Garth Fisher on The Cutting Edge. I'm here with Philip Press, master jeweler. We're talking about creativity now, on how he keeps his edge after so many years of success. So I'm sorry I interrupted you, but Can you get back on that thought?
Sure. Like I was saying, creativity cannot be forced. Some days it flows and it flows freely like a fire hose, right? All these ideas will just explode in your head, and you literally have to stop everything you're doing so that you can sketch down the ideas before you forget them.
Right.
And then other days, you'll have to come to the shop and you'll have to figure out something for a client, come up with a design, and it's just not there.
Do you keep these sketches like in catalogs where you can go back and refresh yourself?
I have folders.
Yeah,
I have folders.
Like
I keep folders, earrings, rings, bracelets.
Right.
And that's how I keep things cataloged.
Okay. And probably the same clients coming back kind of want the same motif, don't they?
A lot of times,
Yeah.
sometimes not. Some people, they'll like one particular concept. Like somebody will like, perhaps like an Art Deco piece, right? That's in platinum with engraving and filigree and very ornate. And they may come back the next time and want something, very modern and totally different.
Have you ever made something that the client just really loved? They think this is the most amazing thing
every day.
And you're looking at it's like, I don't like it. Have you ever been pushed into that corner?
Yeah. And it actually happened just the other day.
But you have to make your client happy.
Of course, because that's all that matters. What I think is irrelevant.
Right.
But I'm pretty free with my opinions, as you know. And if I think that somebody comes to me with a design that I don't think is particularly great, I'll very politely, I'll very politely let them know. It's like, well, you sure you want that?
Yeah.
And, I'll suggest a thing or two, but if that's what they want, I will make that.
Yeah. You'd made something for the, who was it you made? Was it for the Shelby, or you made something?
Oh, yes.
You made a very unique design. There's really beautiful.
Yeah. I am lucky to have some clients that are in the car industry, right? In the very high-end car industry. And I can't really give away all the details, right? I can't really talk about it. But I've made pieces for, let's just say, Ferrari, Shelby, another custom car company that made reproductions of the Shelbys.
Right.
Made some very interesting components with diamonds that actually went into the cars. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. Yeah.
Well, when you're doing this, you got a piece, let's say a car, you're working on the car. You got 3 other clients. One wants a tiger, one wants a beautiful rose, or something. Are you working serially? You can't get to that until you do the first one, then you get to B, then C. You got several things that are in different stages of progression.
Great question. It's kind of all over the map. Sometimes I will focus on one piece, start to finish. Other times, I'll start a piece and then, you just run into a roadblock. It's like, how am I going to finish this end or this piece or this angle? And you just put it aside.
But your time is so limited. It's like,
time is limited, but I do spend a lot of time.
Yes, you do.
A lot of time. I'm not on the clock. And sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll have a revelation. And I'll turn on all the lights and I'll draw it out and I'll sketch it out.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Or I'll be in the shower, right? You know how sometimes you'll be in the shower and something will come into your mind. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I'll run out of the shower dripping wet and write something down.
Oh, man, they should make a movie about you.
Yeah, sure.
What's the biggest misconception people have about fine jewelry and gem quality?
Yeah. People believe that if it's expensive, it's got to be good. Mm-hmm. Or if it comes from a particular jeweler, it automatically has to be good. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That is not the case. Mm-hmm. That is not the case. Certain jewelry stores carry jewelry pieces from other designers who advertise a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Every magazine you open up, there's the advertisement for that jewelry designer or a website,
right?
And it doesn't necessarily make for a fine piece of jewelry, not at all. And just because it's expensive, as you know, like a lot of things, doesn't mean it's great.
I think once you see advertising, is because what I see is, there must be some overhead behind that advertising. They got to pay their overhead.
Absolutely.
So they need to get more people in the door. So, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a blanket generalized statement, but, advertisement works, and it's something that we've all
been known to work.
Yeah, it's known to work.
I'm not particularly good at that. I run my business purely out of word of mouth and referrals.
I know. I was wondering if it was just, are Are you referral only now, or
Yes.
can anybody just walk into your door? Or?
No, unfortunately, those days are over. At this point, if I don't know who you are, or you're not referred by someone I know, or you haven't made an appointment where I can more or less know who you are,
So how would somebody get to you?
they have to call me.
Okay.
They have to call me. We have to have a discussion.
Philip Press, what, you have a website or anything?
Website, philippress.com.
Okay. And it's PHILIP. It's not
Correct.
2 L's.
One L.
1 L. 1 L. philippress.com. You're on Sunset Boulevard, and they can reach you through that. You have an Instagram?
Yeah.
Yes and no, but
yeah, it's Philip Press Jeweler.
so jewelry often marks life's most important moments,
Yes.
engagements, anniversaries, milestones, etc. How does it feel for you to create these objects that hold that kind of emotional weight? I'm sure that there's got to be some gratitude, but there's also some pressure.
Oh yeah, pressure. I wouldn't say so much pressure. I mean, I really recognize the awesome responsibility that I've been given, right? I mean, my gosh, you make someone's engagement ring. You make somebody's wedding rings. I mean, what an awesome responsibility that is. This is something I take very seriously.
Correct.
It's funny. I said to a client the other day, who's a very, very well-known fellow, right? And he was wondering about the longevity of the piece that he wanted me to make, right?
Diamonds are forever.
Well, diamonds are forever. But,
Right.
as far as like, am I going to wear this? Is my family going to wear this? And I said to him, half jokingly, I said, 3 generations from now, your great grandkids will say, this is the piece that Press made for us. I can't say the name.
Right.
For us. And he looked at me, he was struck by that. And he says, you're right. I said, absolutely, I'm right. You have to think about that. These pieces will be in your family for generations. It's a very important thing.
Yeah, it is. And that is a pretty impactful statement.
Certainly.
Remember that. I mean, if you're fortunate enough, I mean, some people don't have that good fortune of being able to pass things down like that.
Unfortunately.
But you've built your business with a focus on relationships more than transactions, I believe. What's the secret to maintaining those long-time client bonds?
Oh, it's not hard. I mean, for me, it just comes natural. I don't even think about it. I mean, it's very simple. You treat people the way you want to be treated, and maybe even better.
Right.
And the right people will gravitate toward you. They will run to you.
Right.
And the wrong people will not. So it's very simple.
And you always know what clients you're dealing with. And, I always talk about it as, you take care of the person across the desk from you, they'll take care of you. The important thing is not the money, it's the service. It's the, knowing that they're getting what they want and you putting everything you can into it. And ultimately the payback is you have somebody with a smile on their face
Absolutely.
that trusts you and wants to come back.
My philosophy is this.
Yeah.
It's like you don't just make clients, you make raving fans.
Right. Right.
And it's funny how, if not daily, certainly weekly, people will call me up and said, yeah, so-and-so, my friend, I told them I have a big anniversary or I'm getting engaged, or it's a birthday. And they were falling all over this. You've got to go see Philip. You've got to see it. Philip's the guy. And they're kind of curious, like, who the hell are you? Because for somebody to refer you in that way, I mean, that's kind of very interesting, right? Yeah. It means you're doing something right.
It is. And you're a lot like me. I like that you're hands-on. You do everything yourself.
Everything.
I don't have fellows or interns or, not that that's bad. I just, I like doing everything myself too. And I just think, I talked to a man one time and he was a billionaire, very successful, hard-nosed, direct. And he said, Garth, you got to where you are because you're better than everybody else. And the moment you start delegating, you're going to delegate yourself to oblivion because it's just going to get, the work is, the quality is just going to go down. So, if you have that passion, desire, and you love what you do, then you're in that shop making those jewelry, pieces, and you love it.
I love it. I love it. And look, when your name is on the door, that makes all the difference in the world because it's your reputation, right? I always think of it this way. If you go to a store or a company and it's like, so-and-so, Marvelous Jewelry Incorporated. Well, who is that?
Yeah. Who's behind that?
Who am I dealing with?
Right.
Now, I have an amazing crew, right? My newest person has been with me 22 years.
How many employees do you have?
There's 6 of us.
Okay.
And really, I couldn't do what I do without my crew. They are absolutely the best at what they do. They are the finest craftsmen in the world.
Right.
I've yet to find people better than my guys. So collectively, we are extremely good at what we do.
So what do you do if Congress calls you? They say we want. I mean, I don't know how many people are in Congress. How many people is it? 150 or?
Oh, if someone in Congress calls me, I hang up on them.
Well, wait a minute. 350 people want a ring made. It would like you would be overwhelmed, right?
Were you saying 350 pieces?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how can I describe this without giving away what I'm not supposed to give away? So I make pieces for a branch of our defense.
Right. Because I know you make a lot of pieces and there's only 6 of you, but somehow you put it together and you can come out with a lot of product.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
We figured out a way. It's not, huge production, but it's a fair amount. And they're fairly standard pieces. And they had another company making these things for them for a while. And, that they became unreliable. They weren't happy with the quality. It was very hit and miss. And we took that over and they were completely blown away. And for us, it's not exactly the best thing that we do, right? Because it's fairly simple, but it's for our country, right? And our countrymen, our heroes wear these things.
Right.
And it's an awesome thing to make.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I know, some of our clients can be like such great people. You develop friendships for life with them.
Most of my friends started as my clients.
Yeah. Dr. Garth Fisher on the Cutting Edge. I'm here with Philip Press, a master jeweler, and it's been a fantastic conversation. Philip, how do you define luxury today? How do you think its meaning has changed over time or still the same?
I think that luxury means different things to different people.
Okay.
There are some people who are enamored with the things that we create. They look at a particular gemstone or a piece and they're just over the moon. And there are other people, maybe not so much. So I definitely think it's different for different people. And has it changed? I think it's changed. I think it's constantly evolving, just like any kind of fashion or style. It changes. And there are some years that people like, big, bold pieces. And other years, more delicate, more understated pieces. So the great thing about what we do is that we can turn on a dime. Yeah. If all of a sudden tomorrow, people want pieces of a certain particular design or look, we can change our production and follow that trend.
Yeah. Again, because you're customizing your custom house. It's not like you're working in a huge factory, things like that. What advice would you give a young craftsman, such as yourself, a designer trying to build a reputation in today's world?
Wow. Well, first of all, it's extraordinarily difficult, right? Being a jeweler or a jewelry designer is the equivalent of becoming a clothing designer, right? Because you have to learn the ins and outs. You have to learn fabric. You have to learn the how these things are made. My advice, and I would say this transcends into a variety of different industries, is follow the people that inspire the people that inspire you. I think no matter what you do, that's what you should do, right? If you're inspired by a particular designer, research them. Research who inspired them and follow those people and learn the chain of inspiration.
Right.
That's the best advice that I could give.
So if you went back, you're 15 years old and you could talk to yourself when you went into that little shop and you saw those little things, what would you tell yourself? Would you say, you got to do it? It'd be hard. I mean, what advice would you give yourself at that point?
Run. Learn how to code. Well, back in those days,
they don't know what coding was.
No. Wow, that's a really tough question. I would say just study harder. You still do it, but I don't know if there's a shortcut or not a shortcut in that sense, but something you'd be like, this is where you need to really focus on, to get where you're wanting to go. I mean, I don't know that your path has really been circuitous at all. It's been, you've been very stable and just straight lined. You haven't been really all over the place. You've been very stable with what you produce. Yeah, I've kind of stuck to the formula.
I think you have stuck to the formula.
Which Look, from a business perspective, I think I'm a terrible businessman. I'm a horrible salesperson. I just love what I do, and I like to do the things that I do. And I've kind of stuck with that. And fortunately, that's worked out pretty well. Most people really like what I do, right? But look, if I was a very shrewd businessman, I would say, oh, well, look at that trend and look at this trend. And I would chase all these trends to try to chase down every bit of business that I can. It's not what I do. It's not what I do.
It's not enjoyable.
No, it's not. It's not, because then it's just business.
It's better being true to yourself and enjoying what you produce,
Correct.
So looking back, is there a piece or project you're most proud of, and why would that be?
There's so many. I don't even know where to start.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, there's two kinds of pieces in my mind.
Okay.
There's what I call the stone-centric pieces, which are essentially an amazing piece that you create around an extraordinary gemstone. And then there are art pieces that you just kind of think about, like that brooch, the rose brooch that I mentioned earlier, that you just have in your mind. It's like, wow, I'd really like to make this.
Right.
And it's not necessarily about big, huge, impressive stones. It's about artistry. Right. It's about design.
Right.
So, the two can cross, but I would say, look, I was fortunate enough to make a piece with a 64 karat diamond. And I would say that's one of the more extraordinary stone-centric pieces that I've ever made. And, I've made thousands of extraordinary art pieces that, smaller stones arranged in a particular way, a particular design that people will look at and say, wow.
So when you're designing these intricate designs, and for the simplicity's sake, let's just say you have a flower and you have the middle part, and you have the petals, and you draw it out. Here's a stone, there's a stone, there's a stone. All right, you got the colors, even got the shapes. Is the hardest part of it like putting those little prongs on to hold it? Or what's the heart of is it just a three-dimensional design to get the right angle?
Yeah, no, great question. It's all of those. Certain pieces, about getting the three-dimensional design to function, to actually work, because you may have the idea in your mind, oh wow, it would be great to make a piece that looks like this or like that, but then it won't work, it won't function, it won't last, it won't hold up. That's one element. And then the other element that you mentioned, yes, we call it stone setting, right? Very simply, which is placing the stones into the metal. That by itself is an art form all unto itself. And an art form that unfortunately is kind of dying off, because most of the pieces you see are kind of, thrown together. They're made overseas very cheaply. We use some diamonds that are 0.7 millimeters in diameter. Yeah. Tiny, tiny diamonds that are set under a 10-power binocular microscope, because they're so small, you can't do that by hand.
Well, this is all reasserting the point that you're custom make, you do all this yourself, and that's even more important, to go to you. So for your legacy, what would you like people to remember from Philip Press Jewelry?
That Press made great stuff.
Yeah.
That Philip Press made the pieces that are as good as humanly possible.
Yeah.
That's what I want people to remember.
And I see that. In everything that you do, you're so precise, you're so on point. You put your time into that. And, I only know you had to make hundreds in every test you made. I mean, I can't imagine. You're one of the most precise, anal, fastidious human beings
it's a problem.
That I know.
It's a problem.
Yeah, it's great, though.
Because it transcends, as are you, right? It transcends every aspect of your life.
Yeah,
everything you do, the way you keep your home, the way you keep your car, everything has to be very precise, fastidious, and
well,
perfect.
It's been great being your friend, and I just this is going to be a great conversation for everybody to hear. This is a cutting edge again with Philip Press, master jeweler, Beverly Hills. You can find him philippress.com. But it's been a joy having you.
Thank you, Garth. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.